This being the mouth of Little Caney, I think one of the things we'll start off with is what was originally known as the original Bird Island. Way before everybody now calls that island up there at 154
yes.
Bird Island. But this here is actually the Bird Island.
Now, is that before you go back up in Little Caney?
Right.
On the right or left?
Right.
On the right, yes.
Yeah,
that point that comes out there.
Way out there. And what happens here is some pretty classic stuff. Again, we're talking about this spot right here, and this is the mouth of Little Caney.
Right.
One thing that way back, it was like 2 or 3 years after Lake Fork opened, there were only a few people who did television shows on Lake Fork because it was producing more or less little fish back then.
Right.
Well, John Fox had a weekly television show, and he did one of the first shows I ever witnessed on Lake Fork. He caught a lot of fish, and he always had a tendency to mark the map where he'd show you where he caught them. And he caught those fish right in here, right along this right here, which is between Doctor's Point and Bird Island. Now, Bird Island I have fished, basically we're able to show Bird Island. This would be Bird Island in blue, and you can see the willow trees, that's what these trees are, that go in and make these ditches right here and right here. So that is that ditch right there that goes up there against that blue island that's marked on the map, and this is that other ditch lined with trees. It also has, this is all underwater, and this is a high spot underwater. It's got access to real deep water, and it has these little ways that these fish travel up. This is the lake when it was 375.04 lake level. So there's about 28 foot of water to come on this. This is where John Fox did his film.
Yeah.
This turns out to be Bird Island, and these are those ditches right there that go up in here. Just to give you a picture of what that looked like in the old days. Then as it was coming up, you can see it starting to form the island, and you still see the creeks here, or the little ditches. The best place, what happens is there's a lot of lily pads down there too. This being, all of this that I'm about to talk to down here at the mouth of Little Caney is potentially a state record area on Lake Fork. Specifically to tell you, go throw in this particular part of this section of the lake, it's difficult to say because there's so much good structure down here. But what we used to do, we used to come in here about 6 o'clock. It seems like everything down here has a 6 o'clock timetable on it, whether you're fishing out here on Doctor's Point or in this gut here. And right here, right, if I can just do that. Okay, right there, right where it starts, right in here, you throw a topwater, a chug bait of some kind, and you can work your way back into some of this stuff right in here, and it's a good topwater producing spot in summertime. Another thing to watch out for is that with a predominantly south wind in the summer, it'll blow bait fish up here big time, and the fish will feed in here. You start seeing a lot of activity or shad popping, you want to throw your topwaters in there, that type of thing. We're going to go up here to Hell's Point, and maybe we can draw this like this right here. If we're coming in from Bird Island, now we're going into the mouth of Little Caney,
right,
and this goes into Hell's Point. Hell's Point has a defined creek that goes back here and splits. But the key to the Hell's Point is the long underwater point with the island on it. This has been known to produce some of the bigger fish out of this point right here.
Is that island today? Is this still separate?
Normal pool, it will be. Yeah, normal pool, it will be an island out there.
And it's just
Not
separated, not much from the
shore itself.
Okay.
I wanted to kind of get into maybe showing some pictures of this. This is pretty cool. This is the boat lane going into Little Caney. This is that same little ditch that's going in to Hell's Point. This is the long point that's underwater, and that island would be just right up in here. This would be on the left side of the boat lane going into the mouth of Little Caney. If you're really fishing for a huge fish that wants a lot of recognition, this point is one of those spots that you want to think about fishing. Another thing about this, you can click on this and see what it looked like before it ever had any water. This would be that same ditch creek that's going up, and this is actually Hell's Point, and this blue right here would be the hump. This over here would be the boat lane going into Little Caney. There are a lot of things over here on the left side going into Little Caney. We're going to get those kind of coming back down. There is one spot in Little Caney that's easily accessible. I'd like to talk about Little Caney for a little bit. Little Caney is a real, to me, dangerous cove. Once you get past the mouth of Little Caney and you start going into the back of it, there is so much timber in there, and they did not have a true boat lane that went between the pipelines, the two pipelines that go across Little Caney. Just trying to look at it from a distance, you'll see here's one pipeline, here's a second pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
There is no boat lane to get you back here. They've got it marked with some buoys now, and
yeah,
some
I got some
markers.
trees marked and so on, but
Biggest hole I ever put in my boat was in Little Caney.
no kidding.
Yeah, my first guided fishing trip.
Were you running?
I was running.
Yeah.
And I was running, and I hit a stump right in this area right here. I was going back here to fish a place called Tarzan's Tank. But one of the best structure fishing spots on Little Caney in the mouth is going to be toward the mouth, and what it is this little gut right here, and you can see that Hell Point is right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the island. You go up just a little bit further, you're safe navigational wise. You don't really start getting into all the real thick timber until right up in here. But this right here has to be fished. If you're in this area, you need to fish this spot right here. It has the funnel point that goes in here. It has some timber in that funnel point. It has a tree line that runs parallel with this point right here that has a fence on it. And then when you get over here, you got two things. You got this little pocket back here. But this underwater point is very good. But also there's an underwater point that runs off this way that goes off and drops off into the creek itself. Somewhere and if you'll see, it's right parallel with that. It's just right parallel with that fence right there. This starting right here, all the way going down this bank right here, fishing that tree line with that fence, and around this right here is what I consider one of the best spots in Little Caney. There's so much different structure right here, you just have to use a variety of lures to fish it. Lily pads will work their way in here later in the year. I cannot say enough about this spot. It's a good one. People who fish tournaments, the McDonald's tournament, the Skeeter tournament. I was trying to think of any other tournaments that are being fished down here. There's always a boat on this spot right here, from daylight to whenever they.
Well, it looked like there's a lot of water changes right there, a lot of water breaks from 13 to 23 to 33 feet in a matter of no time.
No time at all, and that's that access for that good deep water.
Mm-hmm.